Shalom and Brocha. Let's learn a bit more of TZav Vziruz. We're up to the 15th chapter, where the Rebbe starts discussing personal rules for spiritual growth. It's very apt for this time of year. It comes out just before Rosh Hashanah that we talk about this chapter. There are several in a row that we'll be talking about our spiritual growth. So let me start. He says like this: if you have been able to draw up personal plans, rules, guidelines on how you're going to grow, how you're going to attain spiritual growth, consider this a great success. Because in the scheme of things, people glide through life. I go to shul. Come on, diminish your cup. I sit in the back. I talk about everybody. Yeah, that's good. I'm here. You could be a very observant Jew, but not be a former, not be a yid that's tied to his spiritual growth. But the reason you're here in this world is to tie yourself to spiritual growth, and that has to go on and on. It never ends, no matter what age you may be. So here the Rebbe says like this: if you have plans, if you, like we have in our base medrash, I told you maybe before, we have what's called the MOT, where every Yingaman comes for a personal discussion. We share via halt where he's holding in his growth, in his Yiddishkeit. Some of them take on a new kind of Kabbalah, something, a new limit. Some need to do just a small adjustment. Each needs to at least work on a plan. You can't be a guy who just glides through life. Because gliding, go to shul, I can be very nice, I have some cholent, sing Shalom Aleichem by the Friday night, my wife will light the candles. It's all beautiful. Oh, but you are here for a different purpose, a greater purpose. You are here to fulfill your growth, your tikkun of growth. And that needs a plan of action. Right? So he says if you haven't succeeded in setting up a plan, or at least understanding, being able to know what you need within yourself. How many people don't even know that? They don't think in these terms. So if you haven't done this, then either you have not devoted your life to personal growth, or never, you're blind to your own failures and successes. Right? In other words, you're a shtickle idiot. Nothing phases me. You're grown. Nishko, was machst du mich? Don't make me crazy. Says the Rebbe, because the spiritual seeker who channels his efforts in his inner world will inevitably be faced with difficulties and distractions. No, you are going to have challenges. If you're a person of ethics, of meaningful Yiddishkeit, that cares about the spirituality of your own neshama, and you're going to have challenges. Could be external challenges. It could be a job. It could be parnasa. It could be the place you live in. These are all challenges sent by the Eibishter Kaviyuchol. I once wrote someplace that the Eibishter orchestrates, choreographs all these challenges sent our way. For what reason? Not to see the show, but to watch you grow, to give you the opportunity to use the tools that you've been given to become the person you should be. So you will inevitably come across challenges. And they could be external ones, or even more difficult, They can be inner problems, situations that attack you from within, such as laziness, such as negative tendencies, or particular yetzer hara for certain things that are corrupting your mind and corrupting your avodas Hashem. But so you need a plan. You need a plan, or else the destructive character traits will take over. And because the spiritual seeker is constantly involved in his inner battle, it's always going to go on. Sometimes you're going to win. Sometimes you're going to lose. It's a skirmish. And inevitably, he's going to come to conclusions. Which strategies work for him, and which ones bring out weaknesses. So in other words, there is no master plan for everybody, because we all have a different nature, and we're all different in what we have to do. And Hashem gave us the tools so that we should do that which we need to be able to attain. So what works for one guy, a niggun, doesn't work for a second guy who doesn't make it for him. But on the other side, he might be more academic. Unfortunately, we're living in a world where we have everything is in a box, and everyone goes to the schools, and some of the schools, they fit a certain pattern. If not, they throw you under the bus. I'm sorry, you don't fit in. I've been working with many kids, grown up in Gilad, who are married, and they were thrown under the bus when they were younger. Baruch Hashem, hopefully I could be mechazik them. But it's a despairing thought that their eyes were never opened to their own potential. So you have plans, you have strategies. You might think, well, Daf Yomi, that's going to work for me. I'm going to feel more fulfilled. I learned Daf Yomi. I'll find a shir, or I'll go online and get someone. There's so many shirim in Daf Yomi. Another person will say, I can't do that. It's too much. I'll take it upon myself. I'll do a blot a day. I'll do one side of the page. Others will say, I'll learn Shulchan Aruch, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. The Torah has so much. So you might take on a strategy that works for somebody else and it doesn't work for you. But you have to be honest with yourself. And that's why you need somebody, a Mora Derech, a rabbi, a rav, a gittefrant who understands, who you could work things, you bounce off of them ideas. And you might not want to say, well, I'm not a Daf Yomi guy. It's not going to work for me. You're ashamed, though, because everyone else is doing it. But if you have a rav or somebody who knows who you are, you won't feel bad, because they'll give you something else that will work for you. So someone who cannot draw such conclusions that not every strategy works for him, and it just loses interest, is not engaging in the battle. He neither wins nor he loses. Or else he's unaware of both his inner weaknesses and his strong points. If you have no plans, you're not in the game. Or you just don't get it. So we stand here now on the cusp of Rosh Hashanah, another week. Tzitzit, Slichas is here. We just got a letter now that this COVID-19 is still very much a problem. And shuls have to be very wary and have a whole... They don't want people gathering in too many big crowds, or any crowds like that. So we're all disquiet. So you know what? Take all that nerve, that energy of angst. Put it in one place and say, I wish that this is it. Give me the koyach to understand what's important and what I could do, and what's just something that's not. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'll find the place I can daven in or whatever it is. But give me let me use this time that we have more than usual to find the strategy for my Torah growth. If not, that's what we're here for. The Irish will help. We'll talk next week. If you want to, but nach a shir. The Heilige Piasezno Rebbe. Take his words, please. Take these words, cherish them, get them, let them become part of who you are. There's chusel, the Irish to help. Everyone should have a ksiva, v'chsim, mit toiva, mit gesinnt, mit panosa, mit kol tov.